Dennis Johnson and I first met in 1981 when we were fellows at the Provincetown Fine Arts Work Center. Dennis was the first living writer that I had ever met, and I was the first living painter that he had ever met. We immediately bonded and started making things together. We made Red Darkness, our collaboration this is a poster for, that was a group of poems that Dennis wrote for my paintings. I made paintings for his poems. During that time, one of the paintings, this painting here, became the cover for Dennis's book, The Veil. Over the next 35 years, we were always talking, cooking up ideas, collaborating. In 1995, we went to another artist colony on the island of Bequia in the West Indies. This was Dennis and I getting ready to cheer on the local cricket team. This is also a photo of Dennis in Bequia with my daughter, Josephine. Dennis was Josephine's godfather, and while in Bequia, Dennis wrote Denis the Pirate for her. I decided I wanted to make an animated film of Denis the Pirate, and I wanted it to be something that I had never seen before. Because the story was set in the 1700s, I decided to make it out of etchings. At the time, copper etchings was the technique that all images were reproduced by. To make an etching, you first coat a copper plate with liquid asphaltum, which is basically like the tar on your street, and then you scratch an image into it. And you're removing the asphaltum. Once you've finished with your image, you take the plate and you put it in a bath of acid. That acid will eat into wherever you scratched away and isn't protected by the asphaltum, and that becomes your image. After you take the plate out of the acid, you remove the asphaltum, and then you're going to take whatever colored ink you want and you push it into where you had etched away. Then you take your plate, you cover it with a piece of wet paper, and then we're going to run it through a press under a lot of pressure, which forces the ink from your plate onto the paper, and you'll get one print. I made the entire battleship scene using one plate. So as you'll see, each time a ship arrived, I had to go through that whole process again for every boat. Once the fighting started and Dennis started sinking the ships, each time a ship sank, I had to put it back in the acid and eat away through the entire plate to make that ship disappear. This is how that plate wound up looking like. Each plate took me 8 hours. There's 1,700 prints in Denis the Pirate, which means it took me 136 hours to make, or 8 years of my life.
For 20 years, the British Navy tried to capture Denis the Pirate, but he sank each ship that came near.
So deciding on the voice for Sam's video was actually really difficult. It wasn't a question of deciding on the voice so much as I really, after all of the sports docs and narrations and commercials, my voice, it just sounds like a voice, and that didn't seem to really fit Sam's piece. And to be honest, between us, I thought Sam should do it some other way or get some other kind of, I don't know. I just didn't think I was right for it, but I was very happy that he'd asked me, and so I wanted to do my best. And I recorded one where I sort of did my normal thing, which kind of sounds like VOG, which we say in the voiceover business, we call that voice of God. And it felt so awful and so weird. And then I just, after I heard that, I kind of thought the spirit of the thing was a bedtime story that Dennis was writing for Eleanor, and so I thought, well, how would I read it to my kids?
Ever since the earliest humans learned to sail boats on the sea, there have been pirates.
Patricia Hickson, the curator of the Matrix program at the Wadsworth Athenaeum, mounted the exhibition Denis the Pirate. It also included sculptures and some paintings. Dennis Johnson passed away in 2017, so after 40 years of working together, Denis the Pirate became our last collaboration. Shortly before Dennis passed, he saw the final version of the film and he sent me this email. I think it's a new form of some kind. I don't think I could like it more. It's beautiful. Keep going.